Hey everybody, Carla with Carla's Clever Crafts here. I'm signing on a little bit early. Since I failed to go live yesterday, I figured I'd do it a few minutes early, give people a chance to try to find the video or the live. I'm going to load in my comments here before we get started. I know everybody's probably excited for the drawing, but I want to make sure, especially with my mess up, that I give everybody ample opportunity to get in here with us so that they can see the drawings. I'm going to go ahead and get started on the project we're working on today, and then here in just a few minutes we will go ahead and hop on, do the giveaway. Okay. Computer's not doing exactly what I want it to do. Let me see here. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, today we're going to make a deco mesh and ribbon wreath using this adorable seahorse sign. It says salty and happy on it. So that's what we're going to be working with. And as I often do, I'm starting with a 14-inch wireframe from the Dollar Tree. I've pre-wired the frame. I've actually started putting the mesh and everything on, but I have this one just to show you guys how I do wire it. Actually this one's done differently. I do, instead of one on the crossbar here, I do two in each section. Where there's a crossbar, that's a section. We have 6 sections all the way around. So you're going to do one on the inner 2 rings of each section, and then on the outer 2 rings, you're going to do 2. So where I have one on the crossbar here and here, instead you're going to do one in here, in the middle of this crossbar and this inner one. So you'll have 1 and 2. And you'll do that all the way around, and you should end up with 12 pipe cleaners all the way around the outside 2 rings and 6 pipe cleaners all the way around the inside 2 rings. And that's how we're going to lay out our pipe cleaners. And then I've already gotten it started, so it doesn't take us so much time to complete the project on the video. For some reason it seems like my angle is bad. Hi Joyce, welcome, thanks for joining me. Okay, I'm trying to make sure you guys can see. I feel like for some reason the camera angle turned. It's telling me. There, let's see if that's better. That was terrible. Okay, there. I think that does it. Sorry about that. I went to rotate the camera and it fell down. Thank you, Joyce. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start talking about what I did when I do my wreaths. I usually design around my sign. I pick my sign first. And so to pair up with this wonderful, it's like a pale mint green collar, I found this beautiful deco mesh at the craftoutlet.com is where I got this, and I thought that matched nicely. And then I really like the mint greens and the corals. So I got this coral mesh to go with the mint green, and then we're going to top it off with, we have one here that's coral and mint green combined, so we're going to use this one on our top layer and these 2 on our bottom layer. This one came from bbcrafts.com, this coral, and then the combined one came from Craft Outlet if you wanted to get those and try this yourself. Okay, if you're on here, go ahead and give me a comment and let me know so I can see who all's on here. We're going to do the drawing here in just a little bit. Okay, then I also at Craft Outlet found this adorable ribbon that came in 2 different colors. It's the same ribbon. It has seahorses and starfish and coral And so I thought that would pair nicely. I'm bringing blues and mint green and corals together in this design. And so I thought that that would go wonderful with our sign. And so then I got this dark coral to pair up with the coral seahorse design. And then this one actually came from the Dollar Tree. It was an Easter ribbon. I got this last year, but they probably still have it. If not, Craft Outlet has a huge variety of ribbons. I'm sure they have something similar that would match up with the blue. So those are what we're going to be working with. And I'll start by showing you. Hi, Amanda. Thank you. Welcome. Start with showing you how I did the mesh on the bottom. We always start with our mesh as our first layer. And I have just rotated the mint green and the coral all the way around. And so here we have mint green. Right beside that, we're going to lay in a coral. And I'm using the Cruffle method, one of my favorites. Most of my wreaths that I make, I use this method. There are many beautiful methods out there. This just is my favorite. So to do the Cruffle, you just fold the edge under and then roll it 2, 3, 4 times. Use a clip of some kind, clothespin or whatever, to hold your curl. Turn the pin away from you and then do the same thing on the other end. And that gives you 2 nice curls. And so now what we're going to do is ruffle it in the middle. 2, 3, 4. I'm just doing small sections at a time to give us kind of a ruffled look on the edge, and it'll look like a bow when you're done. And then we're going to place this into our pipe cleaner with our finished edges to the outside and the inside. And that's how we're going to do this bottom row. Okay, and when you put them in there, squeeze them tight because you don't want them wobbling around and moving around. Make sure you pull your mesh to the right up and over top of the one you're placing in presently. That keeps your pattern uniform all the way around. Okay, we've got one more to do here that I will show you, but don't worry, we'll be doing more Cruffles when we do the top layer. So we're going to do the exact same thing with this mesh. Curl the end. 3, 4, and I do 4 times over because that gets this cut edge underneath and protected, because Deco mesh does fray, and that helps protect it from fray. Okay, turn it over, small sections at a time, pull the mesh towards you right up the middle, and then pinch the 2 sides together, take off your clip. Oh, guys, look what I did. I put the mint beside the mint. So make sure you're following your pattern. I'm going to just move this one over here next to the coral. Okay, now we'll put the coral in between these 2 mint ones. Can you guys see the video okay? My phone has a funny angle on it, and it's hard for me to tell if you can see what I'm doing okay. Again, make sure you squeeze it real tight and give it a couple good twists. Make sure that your mesh to the right is laying over your mesh to the left. So just fix that. Okay, and then once you do that all the way around with your mesh, then you're going to come in and add your ribbons. So we have the blues. I paired the 2 blues together and the 2 corals together, and we have the blue here. So we're going to come in and do the coral here. We're going to do the same thing with the ribbons as we did with the mesh and just rotate the patterns. I always put my prominent ribbon that I want to show the most on top. And you're going to, for the bottom layer, just make a slight X, not a big X like this, but just a slight X. Scrunch down the middle of the 2 ribbons. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Joyce. Okay, and then we're just going to place it in the pipe cleaner. V it back. I think I forgot to mention, when you scrunch it down the middle, V it back towards yourself. Okay. And then we're just going to snip off the extra pipe cleaner because we won't be putting anything else in there. And then take the pipe cleaner and push it down inside and squeeze it just to secure your ribbons. And then pull them out. I know everybody's anxious for the drawing, and as I said, we'll get to that in just a minute. I want to make sure I give everybody plenty of time if they want to jump on and watch. Okay. And then after our coral, we do blue again. Slight X, scrunch it down the middle, and V it back towards yourself. This is what it looks like. And then you just place it straight down into your pipe cleaner. Twist it down in there tight. I twist 3 or 4 times once I put that ribbon in. And then just snip off your extra pipe cleaner again. Squeeze it, push it down inside, and then fluff out your ribbon tails so they lay the way you want them to. Now we've got one more here, and that will be the coral. I forgot to mention all of my Deco mesh is cut to 16 inches. Hi Peg, thank you. Deco mesh pieces for this entire design are all cut 16 to 17 inches long. My ribbons are cut 12 inches long and dovetailed on each end. When we make the bows to put on top of this, which we're going to do together in this video, I will show you how to dovetail if you don't know how to do that already. Okay. Now I'm going to pull these ribbon tails up over so they lay the same. Okay, and then that's what it looks like. You're going to do that, what I just did with the ribbons, all the way around, working only at this point on the outside 12 pipe cleaners. So far, we've not put anything in these 6 ones on the inside. We're going to do that next. So you'll do all 12 pipe cleaners with the mesh, and then you'll go around and do all 12 with your ribbon tails. Now, to work on the inside pipe cleaners, we first need to pull them out here to the outside so that we continue building up our design. So I'm going to go around and pull all of those out. Remember, there are 6 on the inside, so make sure you pull those all out. And I didn't have any mint green or coral pipe cleaners, so I went ahead and matched my pipe cleaners to my ribbon, the blue ribbon. I always try to match it to a color that is on my wreath so that they don't stand out, you know. You don't see much of the pipe cleaner anyway, but just in case some of it would show through somewhere, I like to have it match. Okay, and then the next thing that we're going to do is add in our coral and mint green mesh on this layer, the combined one. So again, these are 16 to 17 inches long. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're curling and then ruffling, which is how we get the name Cruffle. So just fold it over, and then 2, 3, 4. Turn the clip away from you. Do the same thing on the other end. 3, 4. Turn your 2 pearls face down, and then just cruffle right up the middle, or ruffle right up the middle. Pinch your 2 sides together, and then pull your clip off. It looks like a little bow. And then this time, on this second layer of mesh, we're going to face the opposite way. So we're going to put our finished edges to the right and to the left. On the bottom, they go to the inside and outside. On the second layer, they go to the right and the left. And then make sure when you're putting these in, you're not going to pull real tight like you did on that bottom layer, because you don't want to sink this mesh down inside of the rest of your design. You want all of it to show. So we're going to do that 6 times around. Okay, So fold it over, 2, 3, 4. Put the clip on. 2, 3, 4. I'll probably finish this layer of the mesh and then I'll do the drawing before we do the top ribbons. I want to go ahead and get these on here because I'll have to move this out of the way. I'm going to move the computer around so hopefully that you guys can see the screen and see the actual drawing. Careful with your mesh, it snags on everything. I love these colors, especially for a beach themed wreath. If I owned a beach house, I think this is the colors I would probably decorate in. Okay. 3 more to go. I kind of like the mesh that has the lines in it like this because it's easy to make sure you're crunching it in straight and staying in the middle. So if you're a beginner or new at it, that might be something to consider when you're first starting out, finding a design mesh that has lines in it to help you make sure that you're keeping everything centered. Hey, Mom. I'm sorry I forgot to call and remind you. I'm glad you're here. Okay, one more after this. We're gonna make a couple bows for this one. This design will have a big bow on the left side and then a couple small bows on the right side. Okay, turn it over. Put our last one in. And when I place these in, I also I take a little bit of time to just line the edges of them up so that they lay next to each other. So just kind of with your edges right beside each other is how I do that. Okay, I'm gonna lay it over here and we'll do the drawing real quick and then I'll finish up with how we do the, attach the sign and do the bows. So I'm gonna try to pull my camera around. Thank you, Mom. Okay. Now let's see if I can get this in the screen. Brian, are you watching?
Yeah.
Well, I'm waiting for the page to load and then we'll try to do, oh, there it is. Okay, can you see the wheel? Well, it doesn't seem to be very close. Okay, that's probably about the best view I'm gonna get. And then I'm going to first, just so everybody knows that it's fair and nothing is rigged, I'm gonna try to go down here and shuffle it. Okay, so here's the shuffle button. I'm gonna hit that and shuffle the wheel, all the names. Okay, so the winners, I came across an issue with the drawings that I was doing. There's a lot of fake accounts out there being used for the purpose of giveaways. So because of that, I'm going to require the winners to send me a picture, and you will get a message from me. Our first winner is going to be Cheryl Baum Seidel. You will have to send me a picture of you holding a piece of paper with a code word written on it that I will give you in the messages. And the reason for that is so that I am able to defeat fake accounts and compare it to the profile picture on the account. Okay, so Miss Seidel, I hope I pronounced your name right. You're our first winner. And then I will also ask you for your mailing address so that I can send you your package, but there will be no payment required, shipping costs, everything is on me. Okay, so our second winner, we have 3 prizes, so we're gonna do 3 different names. First prize is gonna get the Nivea men's basket, second is gonna get the Bath & Body Works woman basket, and that's gonna be Amanda Moyers. And one more time, we have the 3D heart balloon optical illusion LED light. And that is going to be Ida Moyers. So two Moyers. Okay. So thank you guys all that participated. I will be getting messages out to the 3 winners, hopefully tonight. If not tonight, definitely tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and move this back now. And we will go ahead and proceed with our design. Okay. Thank you, Joyce. We will be doing giveaways in the future. Be sure to check back to my page. I'm probably going to do a St. Patrick's Day giveaway. But like I said, be careful, pay attention to my rules. They're probably going to change a little because I found out it's unbelievable how many hundreds of scam accounts are out there. So got to figure a way to make sure that I'm, giving gifts to real people and not fake profiles. Okay, so this sign actually came from the Dollar Tree. It's from their Coastal Living line that they released, I think it was last year. I checked the website right before I got on today, and they did not have this sign on there yet, but they do. It's actually called Shore Living, and they do have some Shore Living items on there, so I feel like they're just now starting to add their summer supplies. So probably if you check back there, you would be able to find them when they start releasing out their summer stuff. Okay, now this sign already has a hole in the bottom here, and I put one in the top. And I'm going to show you here in a minute how to wire it to attach it to the frame. But first we're going to go ahead and finish our ribbons on the top. I might have to cut another piece of ribbon. I think I might have miscounted. But we'll go ahead and see what we've got. Okay, so I'm going to start with the blue. We're going to rotate the pattern just like we did for that bottom. Only this time, when we make our X, we're going to make a bigger X. So, like not a skinny X this time. This time we're going to do a bigger X. And then we're going to scrunch down the middle, pinch the 2 sides together, just like that. You're going to place those straight down into your pipe cleaner. Give it like 3 or 4 good twists. We're not going to add anything else to that pipe cleaner, so we'll go ahead and snip those tips off. Push the extra piece down inside and squeeze to secure it. And then just straighten out your ribbon tails to get them to lay the way that you like. That looks good to you. when I fluff my ribbon tails, I just kind of push out down here at the base and give it like an arch and then curl my ends under. Okay, now we'll do the coral. Actually, I know why I cut less pieces, because we're going to do a bow. Let's see, we'll do a bow here, here, and here. So I'm actually going to skip these two. They're going to have bows in them. And this one's going to have a bow. So now this is confusing, I know, because I'm changing. I'm going away from the normal pattern. But when we put the bows in, you'll understand why I'm skipping these. We're going to actually put little bows in there. 3 or 4 good twists after you place your ribbon in. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, honey. Brian is my husband, everybody. Darla is my mom. They're my biggest fans, I would say. Okay, now we're going to have a big bow here, so then I'm going to do a coral one right here. Remember, you're just making an X, scrunching down the middle, pinching it together, placing your X straight inside. I almost put it in the wrong one. Okay, we're going to snip this off, push that down, and then we'll go ahead and make some bows. All right, I'm going to lay this to the side again here. And we're going to use, this is my favorite way to make a bow. You can do these by hand. It's just easier for me to use this handy dandy tool to hold all the ribbon. Okay, and this is where I'm going to show you dovetailing. Actually, we're going to start with this one. Find my end here. Okay. So when I do my bow, I usually start by taking the end of my ribbon and dovetailing. This is going to be the first tail on my bow. So I'm going to just fold that in half like that. And then we're going to cut at an angle from the folded edge to the open wired edge. So we're just going to cut upward at an angle, and then when we open it up, we have that nice little V shape. Okay. So to start my bow, I'm going to use this blue and white buffalo check. Matches our blue pattern ribbon really well. And I'm going to start off with an 8-inch tail. Now I'm able to measure here because this Easy Bow Maker has 1 through 8 inches all the way out here. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with that 8-inch. This ribbon is the same pattern exactly on both sides, so we do not have to worry about twisting our ribbon. We can just put it straight down in there. Now when we get up to the pattern ribbons, we do have some we're going to have to twist, so I'll show you how to do that when you have those type of ribbons as well. Okay, and then I'm going to start with probably about a 5-inch loop on each side. Let's do 5.5. So 5.5 on that side. I'm going to move my tail down here out of my way and do 5.5 inch on this side. and then I'm going to actually do 4 loops with this, 2 on each side, and I'm going to make them the same size. So I'm going to do 5.5 inches again. I'm just going to check them here, make sure I'm getting them the same size. And you can make these with your hands if you don't have a bow maker. You just hold it all in the middle and just keep coming back and hold it between your fingers. Okay, that's about the same. And then I'm going to bring my tail back out here and we're going to make that 8 inches again on the other side. Okay, and then I'm going to push this tail up to the top and I'm going to go ahead and dovetail it. Just fold it in half the same way we did the first one. Cut from the folded to the open edge at an angle. Gives us a nice little V. Okay, and then we're done with this ribbon. Okay, so next I'm going to come in because we did the blue. Actually, I think I'm going to do this coral first. You can do it however you want, whatever order. I usually like to do my 1.5 inch ribbons towards the top, but in this case, I want to put my patterns both up on the top, so I'm going to go ahead and do this coral. Just dovetail the end before you start. And this time, I'm going to do my tails 7.5 inches. This ribbon is the same on both sides, so we don't have to twist it in the middle. And then I'm going to do 5-inch loops because I did 5.5 inch the first time. So I'm going to come in a little bit, doing them a little bit smaller. And I'm going to do 2 of these on each side. Or I'm sorry, 1 on each side. Okay. Now bring our tail back out to 7.5 inches. And then I'm going to go ahead and dovetail that. When you're dovetailing with it in here before you attach it, be careful and don't pull your ribbons up out of here. You're going to have to start all over. And then since I pulled this tail up and this tail down, I'm going to do the opposite with this one. I'm going to pull this side down. And this side up. Okay. And then next I'm going to use the blue that we used on the base. Dovetail our end again. Okay, now I'm gonna, since we only did 2 loops here, I'm gonna do 2 loops with this one, and I'm gonna keep them the same size as the ones we did with the coral. So I'm gonna do 7.5. Our ribbon is the same on both sides, so again, we don't need to worry about twisting it. Make sure they're the same size. It's harder the more ribbon you get. That's why I like to use this Easy Bow Maker. It's so much easier on my hands. Okay, those 2 are the same. So we're going to come back up to 7.5 inches and cut that off. Dovetail our end. I'm going to go ahead and move these tails just to spread them out of my way so I can see to keep building. Okay, we did blue, so now I'm going to use the coral pattern. I'm just trying to alternate my colors and keep them spread out throughout my bow. Okay, dovetail your end. Now this ribbon has a pretty side and a not so pretty side. I never like to say ugly, so I say pretty and not so pretty. This one, we're gonna have to twist in the middle to keep our pretty side showing in our bow. So I'm gonna come into a 7-inch tail this time. And when I find my tail measurement, I'm gonna have to twist this ribbon in the middle. So my tail will have the pretty side up. Make sure I keep my measurements right. And then over here, we'll have the not so pretty side face up, okay? That's because when we come back across with our loop, we want the pretty side to be showing, okay? So I'm gonna come into, let's see, we did 5.5, 5. This is gonna be about 4.5 inches, the loops on this set, okay? And you're gonna twist in the middle again, so you'll end up with your loop with the pretty side up, and then over here, you're gonna have the not so pretty side up. Do your loop, and you'll get the pretty side up again. Yeah, that looks about right. And then we're gonna come back out here to 7 inches. Now this is starting to get pretty full. So I'm gonna use my little metal hole punch here to make sure that ribbon doesn't slide out on me. Okay, 7 inches on the tail. Fold it in half. Cut from the folded side. Remember to always cut from the folded side up towards the open side. Otherwise you end up with a point instead of an inward V. I've made that mistake several times. Now with the blue pattern ribbon, we're going to do the same thing that we just did. Start by dovetailing. Come out to 7 inches. Now that I can hold this, I'll move that out of my way. Okay, I've got my 7-inch tail, so I have to twist the ribbon in the middle. And then I want this loop to be the same size as the loop I just did underneath it with the coral pattern. So measure those, and then remember to twist so you're always keeping your pretty side up whenever you come back with your loop. Okay, that looks about right. And then back out to 7 inches. Go ahead and dovetail the end. Now you can tie this together before you do the dovetail. If you're afraid that your ribbons will come out, or if you're holding it all with your hands, you can't dovetail as you go. So you can always tie your bow together and then do your dovetails. Okay, now I need a pipe cleaner. Let's see. Yeah, I have my blue right here. Try to stick with the same color pipe cleaners. So now to tie this all together, we're just going to put the pipe cleaner down between these two. Try to make sure it's even on both sides. Pinch this middle together and make sure you're reaching up underneath all of your ribbon on both sides with your fingers so that you're holding it together and pulling it out slowly together. And then you're going to take the pipe cleaner, pull it to the back, and you're going to pull it tight and twist it. And you want to twist it really tight so that your ribbon pieces do not slide around and move around. Thank you, Mom. Okay. Now I will show you how to fluff this whenever we add it to the wreath here in just a second. I want to double check my amount. Yeah, I've got enough here. I was getting a little concerned maybe I didn't have enough of this blue, but we do. Okay. So now I'm going to show you how we're going to do the two small ribbons for their small bows for the other side. Okay. So we're not going to use the blue and white plaid this time. We're going to use, we'll do first this blue. We're going to dovetail the end again. We're going to do basically the same concepts, just on a smaller scale, and we're only going to use 2 ribbons in each of these bows. Oh, yeah, let's wonder if this is enough. Let's see. We'll measure it out and see if it's enough. I'm going to go ahead and dovetail this end since it's the end of the roll. If it's not enough, I have an extra roll of this here just in case. So I'm going to make these tails starting out 7 inches because we're doing this as a little bit smaller bow because we're putting 2 bows on that other side. And then probably a 4.5 inch loop. And another 4.5 inch loop. I think this is so lucky. I'm going to have just enough ribbon. Yes, okay. Well, that worked out very well. So 7-inch tails and then 1 4-inch loop on each side. And then we're going to come on top of that with this beautiful coral wreath or ribbon. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to do 7-inch tail. Now this time we got to keep our pretty side of our ribbon up, so we need to twist here in the middle. So your pretty side will be up on your tail, not so pretty side up on the other side. Then when you bring your loop back around, that will make your pretty side on the outside of your loop. Make sure it's the same size as this one underneath. Twist again. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, looks about the same. Come back out to 7 inches. Cut it off. I'm going to pull these tails the opposite of the way I pulled the blue ones. We need another pipe cleaner. Do the exact same thing. Run it down the middle. Make sure you're putting your fingers underneath your ribbon on both sides and holding the middle together with your thumbs and your fingers underneath. And then just pull it to the back. Pull it tight and twist. And it's okay if you're messing up your ribbons here because we're going to fluff that up when we put it on our wreath anyway, so that we have it laying the way that we like. Okay, so that's that one. And we have one more little bow to do, and then we'll be ready to finish up the wreath. Okay, this time we will be using the coral first on the bottom. And we're going to do the same thing we just did with the other little bow. Dovetail our end. Tail out to 7 inches. This ribbon's the same on both sides. You don't need to twist in the middle. Okay, I think I can get it in there, guys. All right, here we go. 4 inches. think I did 4 inches. Let me double check that. Yeah, 4 inches. 4 inches on the other side. If you have a cutting mat or a ruler or something, you could always lay that down to help you do these measurements. Okay, 7 inches. Dovetail it. And now we're going to use this pretty blue one on top of that one. Same exact process. 7-inch tail, except remember with the pattern ribbon, we have a pretty side and a not so pretty side. So make sure when you're doing your loops, your pretty side is going to be on top. You do that just by twisting in the middle. Twist your ribbon. Hey, Laura. Okay, do your loop the same size on the other side. About 4 inches is what I did these. Pull it out to 7 inches. Snip it off. Now, dovetail our last end here. Okay. I'm going to actually bring our bows that we've made over here. Get the ribbons out of our way. Again with the pipe cleaner, put it between the pipe, the 2 wooden dowels if you're using the Easy Bow Maker. If not, if you're doing it with your hands, you'll just slide it between your fingers. Hold it securely, keep that middle together. Pull it to the back. Now this only has 2 ribbons in it, so these smaller bows are much easier to manage. And I probably could have done this one by hand just to show you how to do that, but I didn't think of it till now. So there it is, our pretty bow, and we'll spread this out and fluff it up real good when we get it on our wreath. Make sure the tails lay where we want them and all of that. Okay, so now we're done with the bow maker. I'm gonna move it behind me. Get our wreath frame back up here. And then the big bow is going to go right here. And then the 2 little bows are going to go over here. Probably going to stand up to do this part. It's easier for me to see my bows if I'm looking down on it. I'm going to start with our biggest bow. Oh, I forgot to clip this off and push it down in, guys. So you want to, where you leave your spot for your bow, just go ahead and clip those off and push it down in. Because you've added this pipe cleaner, and this is what you're going to use to attach your bow. Okay, so we're just going to lay it right in there in that section, and we're going to take our pipe cleaner down to the bottom, underneath and between all the mesh and ribbons that's on there, and twist the pipe cleaners together underneath. Now when you do this part, you want to make sure that your bow is secure, but you do not want to pull it so tight that you sink your bow to the bottom and mash your whole design. Okay, so here I have the 2 ends. I'm just going to twist them together. I'm not going to pull it too tight though. I do not want to lose my bow in my mesh. So I'm just going to twist it a bunch of times until I get to the end. And then I'm just going to push that in because that does have sharp wire in it. I'm going to push it up inside. Okay. And then we'll come around here and we'll work with our bow and get all these little tails laying the way that we want them to. Fluff them out, curl the ends under. And this is just really preference how you want it to look. I just try to get the collars spread out nicely, make sure that you can see all of them. And of course you want to fluff up these loops. And just play around with it until you have it the way you want it. Okay, I like that. That looks like I've got some of all of my ribbon showing. That's what our bow looks like. Now we'll come over here and we're going to put the two little bows over here. So again, we need to cut these pipe cleaners off, push those down inside. I'm going to do this one up here. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to work those pipe cleaners down to the frame, the metal frame underneath, and wrap that pipe cleaner around those bars. I usually try to go around 2 bars. Don't pull it too tight. You don't want to mash everything down. Just when you get them around there, wrap them around themselves several times, and that'll give you a good secure hold. And these little ones are a little bit easier to do because they're not as big, so you have more pipe cleaner to work with. Okay, I'll go ahead and attach this one. And if you don't like how long the tails are after you get them on there, you can always snip those shorter, which I might do. Looks like a couple of mine are a little longer than I like. The thing to remember is you can always snip them shorter, but once you put them on there, once you make those bows, you can't add to them. So I usually err on making them a little bit too big. Okay, push that up inside. Okay, so now I'm just going to spread these tails out, or loops rather, putting them in the opposite direction. Okay. It's very pretty. Okay, same thing here. Spread these out so we see all these nice pretty contrasting colors. Puff up your loops. I always curl my tails the same way I do around the base of the wreath. I just kind of up and out. Okay, and that's what it looks like with our bows. So far, so good. Really pretty. Okay, now we need to attach our sign. Okay, I've already put the wire at the bottom here, but I'm going to show you how I did that by adding the wire at the top. I use floral wire from the Dollar Tree. Gold and red and purple was all I had, so I'm using the gold, but they do have silver and blue also, so you may want to look for that. The wire is really thin, so you won't notice that I have the gold on this. But I cut my piece of wire. I cut mine extra long. You don't have to do that. I just do it because it's easier on my hands. Usually about 12 to 14 inches long, I would say. And then there was a hole pre-made here at the top of this sign. So I took my hole punch. This is actually a metal hole punch from Amazon, and I made another hole here at the bottom. This is MDF board or wood, so the metal hole punch works wonderfully on it as well. And then you just push it down through your hole, either the one that's already there or the one you make. And I like to lay my sign face down. Make sure the ends of my wire are fairly even. And then when I twist my knot, I crisscross it across the hole that I've made. And then I like to twist my knot, keeping it pulled really tight. Twist your knot right over top of that hole. Gives you a little more security with your sign when you attach it to your wreath, because then your wires are coming out the back of your sign this way instead of off of the edge this way. Okay, and once you get your wires on, we're ready to place it. And I want the bigger bow to be up in the top left corner compared to the sign. So I'm going to place him like right in here, about like that. And then we're going to make sure we have him even. He's pretty good size, so he goes almost from one side of the wreath to the other. So make sure we have him in the middle. And then you're just going to work your way down underneath the mesh and ribbons to that wire frame again. This is the reason I like to leave my wires longer. It makes it easier to do this part. And I am actually wrapping around the two middle rings. The wire frame we're using has 4 rings, and I am going around the 2 middle ones with this sign. Depending on how big my sign is how I determine which ones I'm going to go around. You could probably even go around the outside rings with the size of this Seahorse. And then once you get it around those 2 wire rings, you're just going to twist it. I do mine a bunch of times, 10, 15. And then you cut off the excess wire. And then I wrap the piece of wire that's still on there around one of the rings and push that sharp pointy edge to the inside so that it doesn't poke somebody or scratch a door. Now we just do the same thing up here at the top. And then the Dollar Tree also carries, part of their shore living line last year was they had little miniature wooden seahorses that you could use as like attachments around your wreath. And they had sand dollars and starfish and seashells. So you could even decorate further than this if you wanted to add some of those kind of things. My top wire is a little shorter, so I'm not going to have any extra to cut off. So I'm just going to twist it all the way to the end and then wrap it around one of the rings on the frame. Again, make sure you push the sharp edge up inside. Anytime you have anything with a sharp point, you want to protect that so that somebody doesn't get poked or damage their door or their wall. Okay, and then once I put my sign on, I usually do some more adjusting of my ribbons and bows just to make sure I like the way it lays. And of course I flattened some of it out when I was putting my sign on. So I just go around and look at it, make sure I like the way it looks. Fluff up anything that I flattened. Okay. And that is our Seahorse design. And with our 2 bows on this side, big bow, our ribbon tails coming out all the way around. Very pretty, very beachy. but you don't have to live at the beach to love beach themed decor. Okay, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you, Carrie. If anybody has any questions or anything, leave me a comment or send me a message. Whether you're watching live now or on replay or YouTube later, I will definitely get back to you and answer the best that I can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys have a wonderful evening.